Darren McFarland.
And a good Monday evening to you. And yes, it is installment number 3 of Youth Connect. Darren McFarland, Coach Matt Rigsby here Monday nights during the 6 o'clock hour here on Nashville Sports Radio. Devlin is alongside for the ride for the next hour. Coach, how we doing?
I'm good. Speaking of Devlin, we're going to have a conversation about that legend thing. We ain't fixed that part up. We ain't fixed that up yet.
Well, I don't think that's Devlin's doing.
Well, I'm going to blame Devlin right now.
Well, don't.
I mean, he's wearing a brown shirt.
Don't blame
Who else
him.
should I blame? But the only other guy in the room wearing a brown shirt. I'm good to answer your question.
Are you against the Browns?
No, and I'm really
Do
not
they make
against,
you angry?
I'm not against Devlin either.
Okay.
If I was working in the front office for the Browns, I might be against the Browns. But we're not an NFL show.
You're just dragging us in the weeds right out of the gates.
Yeah, I'm good at that. Right out of the gate, I got to say, number one, on these airways, McFarland Show, we all know Nashville, Middle Tennessee area, Green Hill area, what has happened. You, Darren, and Justin done a phenomenal job, and we're here to talk sports. But you guys done a phenomenal job of addressing the issue. 2 to 4 on the McFarland Show today. I'd be remiss if I didn't briefly address it. Thoughts, prayers, everything regarding thoughts and prayers coming out of the seat that I'm sitting in to that community, to that school, Covenant School. My heart breaks for them, as everybody else is in this room, as everybody else on these airwaves. We can't talk youth sports until I had to say that first.
No, of course. I mean, it would be inappropriate for us to lead with anything else. It's Youth Connect, and this involved kids today. And it's a sad and very, very tragic story. I appreciate you saying those words because, as I said today, there's no manual on how you're supposed to handle these situations. And, you know, I've had to deal with tornadoes, 9/11, historic flood, McNair's murder, even though that was involving an athlete. That was July 4th. I mean, that will, yes, I will never, ever, ever forget that. But I could go on. I don't want to bore our listeners with that, but each one is handled differently. And this is one that started this morning a little bit after 10 o'clock and, you know, has morphed into the story that really the whole country, whole world knows probably by now. And it's just a very, very tragic thing that involved 3 kids who I guess were 9 years old, 3 adults, and a 28-year-old shooter who all are deceased. And I guess for the sake of this discussion, and obviously our thoughts and prayers are with the 6 victims and their families, because and everybody else who was there today, because it is going to scar them, and I hope not permanently, but it is going to scar them for a long time. And I suspect, since I've never been through that, and I don't ever want to go through that, nor do I want anybody I know to go through that, but some people may never recover from that, mentally. It's just that's something none of us know how we would handle something like that, right? Actually going through that. And you work at a school, your daily job. Rutherford County is on spring break. Okay, so there is no school in Rutherford County, but you are at a school when there is school every day. You live that life. So I can't even imagine what you and your family, you and your wife have 3 kids, 3 boys
Darren,
who go to school.
Life. Darren, I live that life every day, and I still can't imagine.
Yeah.
I still can't imagine, what the scenario looked like, what the situation looked like, what those families are going through. We're here to talk about youth sports. It is Youth Connect, but we're here to talk about the youth too.
Yeah.
And youth and parents and a community were so affected. Shame on me if I didn't, again, through these airwaves, send out my thoughts and prayers. And from Johnson City to Dyersburg, if you have a child, if you don't, if you have a heart, your prayers and thoughts and feelings and all the above regarding the emotions are with Covenant School.
How much is this discussed? I know it will be heavy now. You're going to go back to school next week and things will be different. That's how it works, right? When something
Correct.
like this happens, especially in our community here in Middle Tennessee. Okay? You guys will have different, I'm sure you'll be getting emails and memos this week saying, "Hey, be prepared for this on Monday when we go back to school." And I don't know what that is, but you will operate differently than, just going through spring break and everybody is either in town or out of town and they're going to come back on Monday and just resume normal activities. That's not how it's going to work. But how much because everything I've heard today, everything I've read, everything I've watched, everything I've listened to sounds like they did a really good job at Covenant School of handling this situation. In other words, they've gone through drills or what have you. They've been trained to handle tough situations. And when you hear about kids running through the woods and running to safe places and running to the firehouse, and it's pretty remarkable. And unfortunately, we still lost 6 lives at that school. But how much does that go into school? How much do you guys talk about that openly?
There's no openly about it. There are protocols. And I don't want to get into it per se regarding this current situation because I'm not that educated on this current situation. I was bouncing around today. My sister texted me, "Oh my gosh, the school shooting," and so I texted her back, "What?" I missed it. And
Me too. My mom from Ohio texted me and said, "How far is that school from Maddox's school?" And I was like, "What?" I said, "I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about?"
And so, no offense, WNSR, I went from my phone listening to this station to YouTube TV through my truck as I was driving to YouTube TV.
To get caught up on what was going on.
Exactly. I was clueless. And but to answer your question, protocols are in place. I can only speak for Rutherford County Schools. This is discussed ad nauseum. I mean, protocols, again, are in place. Everyone knows their role. And God forbid, everyone knows their role if a situation like that occurs. And everyone knows their role to make sure a situation like this does not occur. And to be fair, I'm sure Covenant School had those same protocols in place. I'm new to radio, so this is the only answer I've got.
Yeah.
Beyond tragic, beyond heartbreaking, bad things, and I do not know why to this day happened to great people.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Well, we'll never understand, nor should we, why anyone would whatever's going on in their life. And I know that it sounds like she's a former student, and what have you. But why you would go to a school is, I don't think any of us. Whether you have kids or you don't. I think you don't have to have kids to, to say you can't comprehend how anybody would do that.
No, and no politics, no opinions, only thoughts and prayers again. Enhanced protocols out there, have been banded around, and I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm not saying they're right. If I was smart enough to fix the problem, I guarantee you I wouldn't be sitting here with you right now, Darren. No offense. But with all that being said, somebody's not figured it out yet. So who is going to? And that needs to happen for the sake of my children, your children, any children across the world. So let's figure it out.
Yep. 615-844-5600. Who are we going to be talking to here in just a bit?
I thought you were talking to me.
Well, are we going to have a guest?
I thought I was your guest.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm a part of the show. Never mind.
You
Michael
are,
McHenry.
yeah.
I'm
Okay,
sorry.
yeah.
I spaced out.
Yeah,
Michael McHenry. We get to talk to a former big leaguer,
Yep.
Michael McHenry, MTSU Blue Raider,
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh Pirate.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This hits my heart a little bit.
Catcher?
What? you beat me to it, Darren. What
know.
position does my son play?
Catcher.
Okay.
Well, when he's healthy.
All right. So let's talk. I hope Shelly's listening on that one. All right. Do you know Michael McHenry's nickname?
I don't. And I've talked to Michael many times over the years, but I don't remember his nickname.
See, I'm here to educate, Darren.
Okay.
The Fort. His nickname is The Fort.
The Fort.
Now, can you be
That little history lesson there. Nicely
Fort
done.
McHenry? Absolutely. Is that not the cool? I've always loved Joey Bats. Jose Bautista.
Mhm.
All right. Great Bambino. We're not talking about New York Yankees on these airways. No, never mind. But The Fort might be my all-time greatest. I mean, you can't play left field. You can't be a utility guy and be nicknamed The Fort.
Mm-mm.
There's only one position on the diamond that can be nicknamed The Fort, correct?
Yes.
Now, the fact that Fort McHenry has something to do with it, however, cool. We're going to get to talk to Michael McHenry here in just a little bit as he calls in. Pittsburgh Pirates backstop, MTSU Blue Raider backstop. It's going to be fun.
You ever been to PNC Park?
I have not.
Man.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Beautiful.
On my list.
It's one of the best ballparks in the country.
Oh, just
In the bigs.
just the sights on TV alone.
It's
Gotta be-
amazing. Absolutely amazing. I've been to many games there. The backdrop, skyline, I'll just say it. Michael's not on here, right? And he doesn't play for him anymore, but it's a shame. The product they trot out there every year with a beautiful stadium like that. They should have a contending team
It's not
selling
Michael,
that
it's
place
not Michael
out there.
McHenry's fault. It's Ben Sherrington's the general managers and whatever.
It's been a while since the Pirates have been good.
Yes,
Like,
unfortunately.
like a long time.
I will say, if I'm not mistaken, Michael McHenry was a part of a playoff team with Pittsburgh, 2012-ish, 2013-ish. We'll ask him.
Okay. Well, how about few and far between? It must have been a one-off.
Andrew McCutcheon won an MVP. That's about the only thing
Yeah.
they've had to celebrate
Yep, that's
in a
right.
long time.
That's right.
Oh, they did deal away Garrett Cole. They got that going for them.
Yeah, that's great. I'm talking about like the Barry Bonds, that Andy Van Slyke. Those are the days when they were good. In the 70s, of course, they were good. But again, those are decades and decades and decades ago.
Well,
Their ballpark didn't exist. They were playing at Three Rivers.
as a Braves fan, my favorite Pirate player of all time, other than Michael McHenry, is Jose Lean because he made the biggest boot of all time at second base for us Braves to
He did.
go on a little bit.
He did. We're also going to talk about a baseball camp. Is that right?
We're going to talk about not a baseball camp, a baseball tournament.
A baseball tournament. Sorry.
Regarding high school in Rutherford County. Well, everywhere in Middle Tennessee, almost, if I should say so, if I'm being positive there. And Darren, believe it or not, I got a little nugget for you. I spent a lot of time, one day. I've had a busy weekend, Darren. I'll just say that. One full day at a baseball field and one full day at a basketball tournament. So I was spectating only. None of my children played. Shelly and I, we had just a relaxed weekend. It was awesome. But I had to work these events. So I spectated. Devlin, do you like people watching? It's one of my favorite hobbies.
It is very fun, especially
it's-
downtown.
I experienced a little. I partook
When you
in
get
a little-
older, you'll say Walmart.
Nah, I don't know if I'd people watch there. You might come away a little disappointed. But I got some takeaways regarding sports parents. I didn't
Okay.
say a rant, just some observations.
Yeah,
some
we're
takeaways.
gonna save that for after McKenna. Is he coming on it after the break, or we? You did tell me.
You're
we
the radio guy. How
I know.
do I know
but,
these
well,
things?
we usually talk before the show, and we didn't talk.
I
I
told
mean,
him
here at the
620.
station.
I told the man 620.
Okay, well then we need to save your little observations.
Okay. Observations, not rants. Let's make sure.
Well, you can do whatever. I don't.
I don't have a rant regarding parents.
it is
I love
fine.
parents. With no parents, we don't have kids to coach.
Very good point. Very good point. It's a good observation by you.
Hey, that was observation number one. No parents, no kids. That's the smartest thing you're going to hear out of me all day.
Michael McHenry went to the rival high school of my wife in Knoxville.
He was a Farragut boy.
He was a Farragut guy.
and
She was a Bearden girl.
I was actually, you threw that out of my notes. Thanks a lot for that regarding Michael McHenry, because I was going to tell him, brag on him, how I'd only coached basketball there once, I believe. One of the prettiest baseball parks.
At Farragut?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a show.
They got some moolah.
Well, winning does that for you, by the way.
Yeah, they got moolah.
Farragut is a great, heck of a program.
We'll come back with Fort McHenry.
Fort McHenry.
Fort McHenry. We'll do that next here on Youth Connect, Nashville Sports Radio.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Babbel. Évidemment.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Golfers, tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest new arrivals from Titleist. Check out the new Pro V1 golf balls, designed for longer distance, more consistency, and unrivaled control. Swing by Edwin Watts Golf Shops and elevate your game with the new TSR Woods, engineered faster, longer, and straighter. Come in and get custom fit for free today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, unmatched service, unmatched expertise.
I'm here at the Big Game headquarters, Total Wine and More, scoring huge savings on the perfect bourbon, local craft beer.
Forgetting something?
Oh yeah, Cabernet, seltzers, and so many low prices.
Valentine's Day is right after.
Whoa, new game plan.
You got this. Total Wine can help you score the perfect bubbly, too.
Thank you, I would have been so...
You sure would have.
Your Big Game headquarters. Love what you find, always at the lowest price. Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. B21.
Milk, eggs, $42. Ma'am, you okay?
Need bucks? With Jackson Hewitt, don't wait weeks for the IRS to send your tax refund. Come in now for up to $3,500 with a no-interest, no-fee refund advance loan when you file your taxes. That's up to $3,500 today. Don't let high prices get you down. When every dollar matters, it matters who does your taxes. So get to Jackson Hewitt today. For eligible clients, loans by Republic Bank and Trust Company. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
What's your next dream? Paying off your credit card, remodeling your kitchen, exploring the rainforests of Costa Rica? Whatever your dreams, they take some planning. And State Farm agent Austin Hardy is right here in the Middle Tennessee community to lend a hand. As your local good neighbor, he can help you look at the things you want to save for and come up with a plan to make those saving goals happen. Because your money should work just as hard as you to achieve your dream. So whether it's being free of debt or free to roam the world, call State Farm agent Austin Hardy here in the Middle Tennessee community. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
It's a Bill King Show.
In Little League football, they play it off. You can't do it in college football, Bill. You got to come up with a bunch of computers and some BCS cockamamie scheme. My answer was yes. It's unique. Absolutely love it. I go into my garage every day and make sure there are no dust particles on those BCS computers. I do that.
Weekday mornings beginning at 6 on Sports Radio 560 on 95.9 FM.
Welcome back to the Strike and Spare Studios. You're listening to Youth Connect with Darren McFarland and head coach Matt Rigsby.
Thank you, big voice guy, back here on this Monday evening. Remember, every Monday night during the 6 o'clock hour, Darren McFarland, Coach Matt Rigsby, here at the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studio. Devlin is alongside for the ride every Monday night. And now we've got a very special guest that we're excited to bring into the fold. So, Coach, I'll let you do the honors.
Do we have former big league catcher, former MTSU Blue Raider, Mr. Michael McHenry on the line?
Guys, what's up? How are we doing today?
Wow. He called you Mister. He must really respect you a lot.
If he's a big leaguer.
What's that Tennessee in me?
Hey, I'm gonna respect anybody, okay, especially a big leaguer, because I was this close to being one. Well, maybe this close for those of you watching.
Yeah, this is radio, by the way. They have no idea what you just.
He's
did.
a Blue Raider too, though.
I know.
I'm gonna respect the Blue Raider stuff.
Yeah.
So, all right, Michael McHenry, honored to have you on the show, and thank you for doing this. Quite frankly, in a pinch, this is Matt Rigsby. So let me be honest with you real quick, okay? We had another guest lined up, and forgive me, I'm just being honest. Mike, are you with me?
I'm with you. I like honesty.
Okay, so I got to be honest. We had another guest lined up. We wanted more prestige, more clout, more resume, but Chuck Akers was out of town, so we're stuck with you. Is that fair?
He big leagued you. That's what he did.
He big leagued us, no doubt. He's good at that,
no
though,
doubt
isn't
about
he?
it. Absolutely. I mean, when you get to be at his status, you just can't keep up with it all.
Another Blue Raider, but I had to give a dig. I had to give a dig at Chuck.
That's great.
All the while, hey, we're talking to big leaguer Darren McFarland. I don't get to do this every day or any day for that matter. So,
well, Michael doesn't remember, but I've talked to Michael many times over the years. When he was at MTSU,
I do remember.
Okay,
absolutely do. Yep.
And even when he was in the big, so I've done many interviews with Michael, and I don't know if he's being nice or I really appreciate that he does remember. But we've talked many times over the years, and I've always enjoyed
good
it.
Conversation, so I do remember that. So
yeah.
No doubt about it.
We talked about your nickname, and we know somebody has to give you the nickname, right, Michael? So who gave you?
No. I educated you on his nickname.
But I know, but you haven't told me the
I love that.
The original, where the originator. Where did the Fort come from?
Greg Brown and Bob Walk fight over it just like you guys are right now.
We've got a Bob Walk reference. That is
wow.
Awesome.
Impressive.
The Bob Walk. We've actually kind of made him the steam of the Bob Walk, like the Ohio State, because, I mean, he's a special cat.
Yeah. Wow. So they're the originators of the Fort, and it's stuck, obviously. It's a great nickname.
Oh, it could have been so much worse.
Definitely.
I mean,
but it could have been better.
It could be better. I mean, I'm very fortunate. It followed me around, went to Colorado with me, kind of all over the country, and then I got back into Pittsburgh, and, man, it's just kind of run wild. I'm very appreciative. It could have been a lot worse. I had some other nicknames that maybe could have stuck, and they didn't, thank goodness.
Well, not to be too redundant, but like I told Darren before you got on, I was like, you can't be a utility infielder or just a right fielder with the nickname The Fort. I mean, come on. There's only one position on the diamond that the Fort can stick to.
That's exactly right. That's why I caught. I was just hoping to give me a cool nickname. Only until I got back there. It worked.
That's what you're shooting for, huh? Just a cool nickname.
That's exactly what I was shooting for. Not making the big leagues, none of that. Just wanted a cool nickname, and it stuck.
Well, you got the cool nickname, and you made it to the big leagues.
Yes, I guess I got 2 wins.
You didn't just make it.
Not like Chuck Akers, though.
Hey,
Not
brother.
like Chuck Akers.
You didn't just make it. You had a career in it.
I appreciate that.
In all seriousness, you got to be wired a little bit differently, right? To want to – it's a hard job, okay? Matt's son, Coy, is our catcher on our baseball team, our 11U team. And we get in the summer, woo! Or, by the way, we just had a tournament, Michael. Not this past weekend. No, not when it was 75 degrees or 79 yesterday. No, the weekend prior when it was in the 20s and the 30s. You gotta have a special love to be back there. It is not.
You got to be the Fort.
Yeah, it is not an easy job. When did you know that's the route you wanted to take in baseball? I mean, when did you know that was the position you loved the most?
I think I always knew it. I was a kid with ADD running around, and they're like, man, let's make sure he's active at all times. So if I wasn't pitching, I need to be behind the plate. But I was, I guess, a good enough athlete to kind of float around the diamond. You guys are seeing this right now. You're going to put your athletes in positions that need to be filled, so they can go and, maybe fill in at second base or shortstop. But the reality of it is, what I say to kids all the time, and I say this to parents, if your son or daughter does not say, I want to catch, then they're not going to last.
Yes.
Because they got to want to love it. They
Amen.
got to want to do it. You're going to get foul tips. You're going to have to deal with an umpire behind you. I saw today Realmuto got thrown out of a game because he moved his glove. you have to deal with ego. You have to deal with all these different things. And you're the only guy that's not on the field of play. You're actually out of play. So you're extended to that coaching staff too. So as you get older, you get into high school, you get into college, you're taking on a completely different role. So it's a different animal. I absolutely loved it. It's literally set me up to where I am today, and it's given me a knowledge of the game I really am blessed to have because I had to learn every aspect. So you got to want to be a catcher. You got to want to put on the tools of ignorance and get back there and take those foul tips and get hit in the head for a living. And I loved it.
But for whatever reason, also, you got to be really smart because it seems like we had a run, Michael, where it seemed like every skipper in the bigs was a former catcher.
You're exactly right. And there's a reason for that. I mean, you think about it. Like when I wasn't playing, I remember Coach Peterson, God rest his soul, he always said, make sure you're right next to either me, the hitting coach, or the pitching coach, because you need to understand the game completely different than everyone else. You need to see it in HD. So I always took that and I let it just ingrain into my brain. So when I played all the way through the minors, going into the major leagues, I was always next to a coach. If you see a picture and I'm next to a coach, I'm usually at least close to the front of the bench. And I always say to every kid, get as close as you can to the coaching staff, just like you would if you're in college and you want to be kind of a suck-up. You want to be right in that front row, first one to raise your hand, because that's how you're going to learn the most. So, yes, there should be more catchers that are managers, but now the game's really shifted. There's more a front office focus. They kind of trickle down the information, so it doesn't matter as much. That gut has gone away, which I hate, and I hope it comes back.
So to be fair, so we're talking about catchers because we're talking to you, Michael McHenry.
I'm still stuck that he used a HD reference with Coach Pete at MTSU. So HD, high def was in, was when you were there, high def was in?
No, he was a bunny ears guy, but I tried to keep it relevant to the audience. He was a guy like, hey, one of you managers jump on the ceiling and hold the bunny ear so we can get some better reception. Let's be honest. That's exactly how it is.
That is outstanding.
That's awesome. So if we're training catchers here, Lord knows I cannot. So to be clear, we have to have ADD, which I do. Ask my wife, Shelly. Eat up with it. And we have to be a student of the game. And we have to have that leadership ability and communication ability to trickle it down to the rest of our teammates, to our pitching staff, to our backup catcher. What does that look like? How is that possible?
I think it evolves over time. And what you're going to notice with a lot of kids, now I'll use Chuck Akers' son as an example. I've worked a lot with him. I love him to death. He's like a little brother to me.
Love Lane,
you
too.
You could see the athletic ability. And naturally, coaches are going to pull him out from behind the plate. But if you look at how the position behind the plate has kind of evolved over the years, the best catcher in baseball right now is JT Realmuto, a former shortstop. You want guys with good hands, good understanding of the game, can really understand where to maybe position guys out in front of them because they really can see the field differently than everybody else. They can control the game. And whether they lead from the front or the back, it really doesn't matter. You just let them kind of evolve in their own way. But the biggest thing for me is they need to learn how to be led. They need to learn how to serve. Because as you get older, all you're doing is trying to serve your teammates, create a brotherhood around you to where you enhance everybody around you by enhancing yourself. But if you're focused on yourself constantly, you're going to tumble. You're going to fall completely off that cliff. If you're focused on others, you'll lift yourself up automatically. And that's what I say to all my guys that I work with. Like, hey, really just focus on everyone around you. Show up. Be with them in the cage. Hit with them in the cage. Do their drills. Learn what they're doing, and I promise you, you'll be the one that benefits the most, even though you're literally serving them constantly, because that service leadership is a catcher 101. It should be the first thing taught and the first thing given to a guy. Say, hey, go serve every guy around you. Watch what happens.
Service leadership.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a basketball coach, maybe not a great one, who knows. Point guard on the floor, point guard, football guy, quarterback. Catcher's your point guard, catcher's your quarterback. And
correct.
For us to help instill what they need to do and what that needs to look like, because if you want that responsibility, correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, you have to take a step back regarding ego, whatever it may be, and provide that service leadership.
You're exactly right. And I always think about it nowadays, kids don't ask enough questions. And coaches don't want to answer the questions a lot of times. And the best teams I've ever been a part of, and every team that I consult with, or any big league meeting I'm in, the best want the most feedback. Whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, they'll take bad feedback instead of no feedback. So that service leadership also comes with putting your ego aside and saying, I want as much information as I can get. I'm going to sift through it and take those gold nuggets and run with them. Because not all information is good information, but if you never get the information, you don't know if it was good or not because you didn't even have it in your hand. And in today's game, with all the information available, especially with the matrix, the analytics, and everything that's processed, these kids don't even understand what they're chasing because they don't ask the question of what should I be doing to better myself today to get what I want tomorrow to ultimately have the goal reached down the line. And I think that's what we always should be looking at is, am I in the direct path to just absolutely barrel through my goals, or am I deviating in a way I shouldn't? And the best way to get that is ask for feedback and then accept that feedback, digest it, and take the nutrient from it that's good and just kind of waste away like you do on the toilet the bad stuff.
We're speaking with Michael McHenry on the line with us, former Blue Raider at MTSU. I remember you with the Pirates, the Rockies. Who else am I leaving out, Michael?
The Cardinals, the Rangers, the Rays, the Brewers. I was all over the place.
Boy, you did. Okay, so you started hitting up, and I shouldn't leave this one out, but my wife will probably cringe. You also went to Farragut. My wife was at Bearden when you were at Farragut.
I'm sorry for her. I'm sorry for her.
Hey, Michael, you got to admit, Farragut's ballpark is gorgeous. Bearden's cannot rival that.
Oh, it's not even close, but I will say they were good at soccer. They were really, really good at soccer, and they beat us in soccer until my senior year. I think we were 1-2 in the country my senior year in the state championship. And, yeah, we'd get 10,000 people at a soccer game.
Really?
It was unreal.
Good Lord.
It was unbelievable. Some of the guys ended up playing overseas. They played, a very good professional career. You should look up some of the names. But, yeah, it was unreal. And then we got to actually celebrate, just to rub it in their face just a little bit more. My senior year, our soccer team and our baseball team got to celebrate together.
Ooh.
The winning of the state tournament. And, they beat Bearden to win that state championship.
Did you hear that, Lauren? I love you, Lauren.
Yeah, she's listening. I'm sure.
Sorry, Lauren.
Yeah, she's listening, and she's right now probably. I can't wait to get. Yeah, I can't wait. Oh, she just texted me. She said, "Boo Farragut."
Okay, so I'm gonna take up for Lauren here.
And she said, "Go Bulldogs."
I got to take up for Lauren here, and I gotta dig at our guest here, Michael McHenry. All right, so I was up late one night. Was it 1:30 in the morning or whatever? Where, as an Atlanta Braves fan, you may know where I'm going with this.
Oh, I know where you're going.
One of the worst calls. I thought it was a great call. I thought the ump had it. He was in position. I thought it was a great call. One of the worst calls in MLB history. Give me 2 sentences on that. I literally, Michael, I'm not lying to you. I was watching that live.
So, my rookie year, I get traded to the Pirates, and over the next 5 weeks, we somehow climb our way into first place with a bunch of misfits, honestly. Like a bunch of young guys, just hungry. And we go to Atlanta, and we win the first game, and then second game we're playing, and ends up in extra innings. We're in the 19th inning. I get a ball from Pedro Alvarez. He kind of throws it up the line just a tick.
Bandy guy.
And I go to tag Lugo, right? And back in
you
2011,
tagged him. You tagged him.
Yeah. I went to tag him. We'll get there. I went to tag him, and I swipe tag him because we're still in the realm of the neighborhood play, still in the realm where you can get run over. There's no Buster Posey rule. There's no you have to slide directly into the bag. We played real baseball back in the day, and you could get hit. So you swipe tag. That's just the way you did it. You have no knocking guys over, no busting their teeth in. Well, he calls him safe. We're 6 feet up the line. He calls him safe before he even touches home plate. So Jerry Mills says safe. He's absolutely outstanding the entire game. And he calls safe, game ends like that. And the worst part for me, guys, Daniel McCutchen, one of our pitchers, and this is really the longest stint he had in the big leagues. He really fell off the map a little bit after that. He clawed his way back to the big leagues. But the dude pitched after pitching 3 days in a row. So on his fourth day, he went upstairs, got his cleats, put them on, and threw 5 1/3 innings. And that's how he got the loss. I'll never forget that because I always think about my guys, right? So the dude literally got the loss on a bad call. And, Jerry had to apologize to me. He had to go all over all the news stations and apologize. He did make the mistake, and all I could say to him, and this is so pitiful, it should be so much better. I said, Jerry, you're going to be so disappointed in yourself when you see this. I was like his mother. I was literally like his mother.
You did the disappointed line?
I did. So for years, I'm like, man, I could have done so much better there. Then somebody said, dude, you were like his mom. You don't think that hit him right in the soul? I'm like, you're right. He thought about that for a long time after that, didn't he? Because he remembered his mom saying, Jerry, I'm so disappointed in you.
Oh,
So
man, that's
maybe
great.
I had the best line ever, but I thought it was the worst for years.
That is tremendous.
No offense, as a Braves fan, I thought it was the correct call. But moving on real quick.
Let's calm down. The Braves have taken a lot from the Pirates. Let's just remember 92 too.
We brought that. I brought up Jose Lind earlier already, setting you up for.
Man.
Anyway, I love you. I didn't bring you on. We didn't bring you on here to knock you. Real quick before we get out of here, if I'm a 10-year-old catcher, what's more important skill development wise? Blocking, receiving, throwing. I'm not getting into pitch calling yet. Blocking, receiving, throwing.
I'll give you something you'll never, ever forget if you're a mom or dad listening to this right now. What is the name of the position we're talking about?
Catcher.
Catch first. Learn how to catch. Learn how to really use their hands. And I say this. If you're 10 or if you're 20 and you're catching, take ground balls. Work on your hands, work on your feet. All of it starts to play together. And too often I see kids, there's this big trend right now, and you can literally turn on Twitter in 2 seconds like, oh, play multiple sports. I'm not going to make that argument. That's a choice you can make. But what I will say is play multiple positions. Doesn't mean you have to play in the game of multiple position, but if you know how to move your feet as a shortstop or turn to double play, guess what? You just learned how to throw to second base. Now all you have to do is add a squat into it. But what happens when you just become an athlete and you move around the diamond, learn how to catch a fly ball, do all those different things, you get back behind the plate, everything starts to slow down, and vice versa. So I would even have guys that I've worked with in the past or in pro ball, I would have pitchers actually take in and out to speed up their arm behind the plate. And they learn how to be more athletic, let their bodies move properly. So number one is always catch the ball, and here's a great drill you can give your 10-year-olds.
All ears.
Grab a deck of cards and get about 3 to 5 feet away from them and just toss them and have them start with 2 hands to catch out of the squat, then get down in the squat, 2 hands, and then go to 1 hand. If they can catch 10 out of 52, they're going to feel like wizards once they walk into a game because those cards go every which direction. It's like catching a knuckleball. It's absolutely outstanding for the kids. It's really good for hand-eye coordination, and it's a great drill just to get those kids to see and slow down the game, see the last movement and catch, and they'll always catch it thumb underneath when they're doing it right. And that's exactly what you want to do when you're actually catching.
That's incredible, Michael.
That is an unbelievable story. I've never heard. That's what I always love talking with baseball people because I always get a story I've never heard before. That I've never heard that drill. That is fantastic.
You know what Michael McHenry just did, didn't he? He has to now come on and expand upon more catching.
That was
questions.
Outstanding.
Sorry, Michael, but you did that to yourself because it was so awesome.
I would love to.
Michael, I was I was traveling with the Predators the year they made the run to the Stanley Cup final. I was traveling with the team, and in the second round they were playing the Blues. So we were in St. Louis, and when you've got off days and you're there for a series and you're playing them twice, luckily the Cardinals were in town. We went to the Cardinals-Blue Jays game one night. I was at the game. You're a Knoxville guy. Chris Coughlin, I think he played at UT, right?
He did.
Yeah.
Well, he went to Ole Miss, but then he has ties. Yes.
Okay. I thought there was a Knoxville tie. I may have misspoke, but I thought he.
So his best friend is Brett Carroll. So there is a huge Knoxville tie.
Okay. So. Yeah, I know Brett well. Okay. By the way, that's a Bearden guy. You just brought up a Bearden guy on the show.
Yeah, but he almost transferred. The fact that he almost transferred, that kind of means he's kind of halfway in, halfway out. So
Michael. I respect. I'm a Tito's Filet guy. Let's not talk about transferring within the same town. I can't have that.
Yeah, he gets itchy and starts squirming and stuff. So I was at the game that he jumped over Molina. You probably know what I'm talking about, right?
Unreal,
I was
right?
there for that. I about fell out of my seat. I couldn't believe it. Have you had anything ever remotely close to something like that happen to you?
He had a 19-inning game.
I actually have a picture of a guy trying to jump over me. It didn't work.
Attaboy. I love it.
But yeah, like it's one of those things like you kind of dream about like something like that happened. I picture myself grabbing him, but you don't do that. You go for the tag. I wish I would have grabbed him. I think that would have been a lot more fun. Like almost like you tackle him, put him down softly.
Yes.
Like, it's okay, little boy. You can't jump in my territory.
Hey, you're the fort. You're the fort.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't jump over the fort.
I love Fort McHenry. What do you think you're doing, man?
I love it.
Last thing, what are you doing these days? It's been a while since we talked. What are you doing?
Everything.
Okay.
So I work for the Pirates and AT&T Sportsnet. I do in-game, pre-game, and post-game. I've also
Wait a minute, on television or radio?
Both.
Oh, wow.
He said everything.
TV.
I mean, he's everywhere.
Yeah, and then I do a podcast that just started with a local writer here, Jason Mackey. It's called Pitching In. It's pretty much all about Pirates, and we make fun of each other. It's a lot of fun. Just started that, but I do a lot of different things. And then one thing I'm really excited about that I'm doing this summer that I got invited to do is I'm going to be a coach for the PDP League. It's USA Baseball's development league for 18U. 150 of the best kids come in, have 10 days, helping them, take that next step to get ready for pro ball or college, or possibly go represent Team USA in the 18U Pan Am. So really excited about that. It was a dream come true when I got asked to do it this summer. So yeah, I'm a busy dude, but like I told you before we got on here, I love working with guys, people that are hungry and want to achieve a goal. There's nothing better than being able to help them do that in some way.
That is outstanding. So do you travel with the team, or are you just doing home games? How does that work?
So I do travel every now and then. I just got back from Bradenton, but I do most of the stuff out of the studio in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I just moved to Pittsburgh. But yeah, I have a feeling I'll be traveling a little bit more than I expected this year, but we'll see.
By the way, the trip with the team ended in Pittsburgh, as you remember, Stanley Cup final. So we went to, also the Pirates were at home. I told Coach Rigsby before the show, PNC Park is arguably the best park in the country. It's amazing.
Arguably, it is.
I will tell you, this
guys
is just.
You got tickets waiting on you.
Oh, don't just throw that out loosely.
It's out there now.
You don't throw that out loosely. We'll take you up on that.
Hey, it's all yours. Yeah, because it is one of the best places to watch a baseball game. Everyone needs to do it, and I just hate that they haven't been good over the last couple of years.
I know.
They're going to get better this year.
I know.
I think they're a surprise to people. We do have one of the most talented guys on a baseball field right now, O'Neill Cruz. So get up here. I got you tickets, and you'll enjoy one of the best baseball games you could imagine.
The skyline is amazing, right? I mean, it's amazing.
The skyline.
Just
amazing.
the way they constructed it, like with downtown Pittsburgh, it's absolutely gorgeous. And by the way,
it really is.
Pedro Alvarez, I think it was. Well, I guess it was probably that trip. I think Pedro Alvarez plopped it in the water. The game I was at.
I believe if he was playing with his nickname was El Toro, so the bull.
Yeah.
I swear to you, it made me believe that bulls really don't like red.
When your nickname is the Fort, there's no reason to talk about other nicknames, Michael. Come on now.
I know.
I can't get off the Fort.
You don't have to get off of it. I'm telling you, that guy raked against the Reds in St. Louis. I mean, he may not touch Milwaukee, he may not touch anyone else, but man, if you bring a red uniform, the bull just went nuts. I had to bring that up because I guarantee it was against one of those teams.
No. I swear.
Could have been the Phillies.
I think it was the Cardinals. I think it was the Cardinals game.
I'm telling you.
Oh my gosh.
I would say half his home runs I saw, I had to see over 100. It was against somebody wearing red.
That is amazing.
Unreal.
Michael, I'm not even doing this for a radio effect. I think it was against the Cardinals. That is an amazing story. And now that you say that, it was the Cardinals. It was a sold-out game. It was a great atmosphere, and he plopped one in the water. He smoked it.
Man, he could really hit. I wish he got to stay around the game a lot longer. They got in his head a little bit, but man, he had some of the most power I've ever seen in my life, and it was just so easy. So easy.
Hey, we really enjoyed this. Thanks so much for doing it.
Again.
Yep. Hey, best of luck with everything. That sounds awesome. That's fantastic. We'll check in with you from time to time.
I can't wait, and I'm looking forward to do it again. And you guys get your butt up to Pittsburgh.
We'll have to. Michael, thank you so much for this.
Thank you,
is
Michael.
incredible.
No problem.
Michael McHenry, that was fantastic stuff here on Youth Connect. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back with more here on WNSR.
Like any good agent, we're here for the open house, for the closing, for handing over keys. But because we're realtors, we're here for so much more. Agents who are realtors volunteer at nearly 3 times the national average. We're working to broaden access to credit, increase affordable housing supply, and ensure fair housing for all. And realtors are bound by a code of ethics. We're here for it all. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
I'm Scott Trout, attorney and CEO of the domestic litigation firm Cordell & Cordell. We help men deal with the life changes triggered by divorce, such as child custody and property division, among many others. But life changes also occur after divorce. These changes can make parts of your existing court order irrelevant. If you feel a modification to your court orders might be necessary, talk to us at Cordell & Cordell. We're a partner men can count on.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Nashville area attorneys. 810 Crescent Center Drive, Suite 160, Franklin, Tennessee, 37067.
Back here on Youth Connect, Darren McFarland, Coach Matt Rigsby. I don't know what happened. Devlin said, just grab the mic and talk. So
He yelled at me, got nervous.
We must have had a malfunction. It's all right. More talking for us.
That's
how good was that, by the way? Michael McHenry.
And it better be better, or it will be better, because we got
a trip
so
to
many more
Pittsburgh
questions.
planned?
Well, yes, selfishly, but regarding our youth sports athletes maybe listening.
Oh yeah,
to
back to the show, Youth Connect.
I mean, that's 8 more segments. We didn't even get into the mechanics of catching and what it's like to be a big leaguer, and the process that it took to get him there, and his recruiting process to get to MTSU. And so, Lord, I've got so many questions. It's not even funny.
Well, I thought he answered that well. For everybody out there listening, who's got a child that maybe is exploring catching, that was a good question. What is the most important? And he said, well, what's the position called? Catcher.
How simple is that?
Right? And I thought that was interesting about maybe not so much multiple, because that is a look. I know there's a lot of people that subscribe to multi-sport athletes, and that's fine. I do know that today it's different. It's harder because now everything is year round and everything gets focused, and you never really stop in whatever sport you're playing, right? Whether it's in season or out of season. If you're out of season, you're training, you're working, you're doing lessons, your fitness. We had Jordan, right? We had Jordan on TriFit. Hey, that's the way. So it gets harder in today's game because of the facilities and the stuff that we talked about with Jordan last week. Stuff that I didn't have growing up. We didn't have all that stuff. I mean, the reason you play multi-sports is because you had to stay active. We didn't have all this stuff, right?
There was nothing else to do.
Unless you was just riding your bike around the neighborhood.
Which is okay, too.
Yeah, with all the neighbor kids, yeah. Mm-hmm. But we didn't have all this stuff that we have access to today. So I thought that was interesting. Play different positions. Play shortstop.
Oh, his interview was phenomenal. And we have to get him back on. There's so many more questions that I've written down just as he's talking that we've not even scratched the surface in terms of his knowledge and what he can bring to the table.
Devlin, are we taking this to our out time? Okay, yeah. I just want to make sure we didn't need to squeeze in another break. Okay.
All right.
So let's just keep talking. So you need to get something out. At Riverdale.
I don't need to. Oh, yes, I do. I do need to do that.
Yeah.
So the Warrior Classic is going on regarding high school baseball. Okay. And if someone was smarter than me, Darren, you got Twitter pulled up over there.
I do.
David Limbaugh at Riverdale High School.
Mm-hmm.
Dale, by the way, as we refer to it, as they refer to themselves. Sports information director there. Excuse me. The Warrior Classic high school event throughout Rutherford County. I couldn't tell you how many high school baseball teams come into the county to participate in this.
He says
David
on Twitter,
will tell you
9 varsity sites, 5 JV sites, some defending state champions, and some Final Four teams.
So if you're out there, it's going on all week.
30th annual.
30th. And if there's a big league park in Rutherford County, in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, in Rutherford County, there's a good chance you're going to be able to go catch the Warrior Classic and watch some very good baseball.
David said, I told you there were 9 varsity sites and 5 JV sites, but how about this? 44 varsity teams.
I'm sorry, how many?
44.
Incredible. 20
JV teams representing 6 states from Alabama to Wisconsin.
That's incredible. They play baseball in Wisconsin?
They do.
But they have to come down here to do it.
It's harder, yes.
Okay.
You have to get creative.
Well, the Warrior
Classic.
Classic.
Because it's still snowing there currently.
Exactly.
Right now.
But the Warrior Classic apparently, 30 years. I had no idea 30 years. I knew what they attracted, at least in this region, Wisconsin. I had no idea. That's beyond incredible. Riverdale Warrior Classic, way to bring all those youth athletes, these parents, all, to showcase them into Rutherford County. So credit David Limbaugh for giving us some education on that.
When is it?
It started today.
It's rolling right now.
I was flipping hamburgers and hot dogs at Siegel regarding our concession stand today.
Well, you're getting nice weather.
How do you feel the weather when you're standing over a grill grilling hamburgers and hot dogs?
I'm talking about the people on the field.
Yeah, okay, they are. Right.
Yeah.
I'm more concerned about myself.
You're worried about the concession stands.
All right, so I was grilling hamburgers and hot dogs. I was at a ballpark Friday, separate ballpark Friday. I was all day, one day this weekend, basketball. Darren, I've had a busy week.
Yeah.
All right. So I made some observations.
Okay.
Would you like to hear some observations that I've made? This is regarding parents, aunts, uncle, just fans in general. I don't want to limit it to parents. I don't know who these people are. But regarding how do you spectate in a youth sports environment? All right. So
can't wait to hear this.
I'm a bullet list guy. It's how I got through college. I got to make bullets. If you're the professor, don't make me write verbatim. I do bullets. So I made 6 quick bullets. Pick a number 1 through 6, Darren.
Let's go with 5.
5? Okay, 5 is understand it's a process. There's no immediate success regarding youth sports and your youth athlete. It's a process. It's not a process if your child, your grandbaby, your nephew, your niece is that 1% kid. They got it figured out. That's how they came into this world. But it is a process, and you have to be patient. And with that, some good comes with it, teaching your athlete, your child, patience as well. For the sake of time, move on. Here we go. Give me another number.
3.
3? Coach is coach. That's easy. We'll move on. Give me another number.
6.
6. Remember what your child's actually learned. Teamwork, work ethic, accountability. You've got extra eyes on your kid to, make sure that they're accountable in the classroom, their grades are up to par, all those good things. See, all we hear is negatives regarding youth sports sometimes, especially the travel circuit and the club circuit and everything else. I wanted to point out some good that comes with it.
Okay.
Darren's doing a good job he's pointing out the numbers that are the good. I've got some negatives. Pick a different number.
So I keep going with all the positive
Yeah,
ones.
you're doing a good job.
Okay,
but we'll
quickly.
get to the negatives.
2.
2? What's acceptable to say to an official? You're only hurting your team's chances if you are the vocal point out there in the stands, guys and girls. Let your child play. Let the coaches coach.
We don't have enough time to talk about that one. 1.
Oh, 1. Hey, I'm glad you brought up 1. Throw your trash away. As us that
amen.
host these events.
Man.
We are not your room service. We are not your maid service. We are not housekeeping. You can't tell me that you don't make your kids or request that your kids pick their rooms up, but yet you're going to leave that hot dog wrapper in the stands. Throw your trash away, parents.
Appreciate Michael McHenry for joining us. That was a lot of fun with him.
Incredible interview.
Everybody have a great Monday. We look forward to talking to you next week here on Youth Connect.